What's up, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of a screen capture as we are guests on the official L1X AMA. It will be starting in about 2 minutes here, so bear with us as we jump over onto Discord and simulcast. We have a bunch of alpha and official announcements about the L1DEX that the EMP and the DEX finance team are building and will be a direct revenue stream for EMP in the long run and Fusion. So, all right, give me about 1 more minute. Might be some awkward silence while we get set up over there.
It's called Windows.
So you probably got one of many of those.
Oh, we got AJ raising his hand. Come on up there, buddy.
I just gave him the
perfect. AJ. Yep, loud and clear, man. Oh, yeah, we're not super streamers over here, so
not yet.
Just roll with
Yeah, no doubt. All right, awesome. I think we're good. So we'll hang out. We are now simulcasting, and we'll
Awesome.
wait for you guys to get started. And we also have LA and Jake from DEXify joining us as well.
Okay. Well, keep an eye for them, red. My apologies.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and we got there's Jake from DEXify. Awesome. Come on up, buddy. Awesome.
Hey.
There he is.
How's it going? Yep. Jake, how are you today?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, man. Is it hot and muggy where you're at today?
Finally.
Finally. Oh, you're one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah. We only get a couple days of summer here, so.
Couple days. Okay. Hey, man. I think we're in the same boat, so to speak, on that. So, yeah. So we're kind of waiting for the other teams, other team members to join. So I'll just fill a little bit of air here. Always under an hour. My father-in-law has an expression: "Get in, get what you need, and get out," which I think is really relevant. I think we tend to linger around places too much. Some people tend to talk too much. Cough, me. And so always, try to be succinct. Isn't that right, AJ?
Yeah, absolutely, Bull. No doubt, brother.
And we got Cryptonaut. Cryptonaut, how you doing today, man? You're on a big world tour yourself right now, aren't you? How was that flight?
That I am. Yeah, just landed in Perth about 48 hours ago. So I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around the time difference and jet lag and everything. And yeah. It's been fun.
All right, man. Good. The flight went okay though. You're just have you acclimated to that time difference at all yet? Or
I'm getting there. I'm waking up at all times of the night and sleeping during portions of the day, it seems like, but I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah. It's here we go. I think the great thing about crypto people is they're resilient and probably the least susceptible to jet lag. Of course, we all have to deal with that because we do sleep. We have families, friends, whatever lives. But crypto people, you're up at such odd times that you're never that 9 to 5. And no offense to the 9 to 5 people, we love you. My wife is a 9 to 5er. But the crypto people, like, up at all times. I think me and LA, we used to call that crypto vampires. So I think we're all the best in the world at acclimating to time changes and travels. Wouldn't you agree with that, LA?
Totally.
All right. Uh-oh, Dennis is in the house. Let's go. He's always getting us. Okay. So there's Chief. All right.
Everybody.
Oh, that's Spark. What's up?
How's it going? Be great. How's it going, L1Xs? I'm excited today. We've got the DEX team on board, so yeah, I'm really excited about what they're doing, and yeah, it's great that they've taken the time to jump on here and kind of share with the community what's going on, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it actually.
Oh, well, let's not waste any time then. I think let's dig right on in. I don't know who wants to jump in. I know it's been a while since the L1DEX team has been here, and we always appreciate them coming, letting us know what they're up to. So, yeah, what have you guys been up to?
Yeah, no
Guys and
doubt.
gals.
No doubt. Be great. So, yeah, we're excited. I mean, we've been hard at work. We had some incredible meetings this week to tie up a lot of loose ends, and we have a lot of official announcements and maybe even some alpha to drop. We'll be short and sweet here. I know you guys have a full agenda as well, but the leading bit of alpha, an official announcement is we are really, really excited and proud to announce that the L1X token will be the official DEX token. And we finally went through all the LP providing models, and we came to an awesome structure that we are really excited for. So this will be the first DEX that actually rewards tokens in the native asset, the native chain token, and not some random reward token that is highly inflationary and only meant to be sold. So there's massive utility involved. Again, you can earn L1X, and that L1X is actually produced from the fees of the exchange. So again, this is a real yield model and something really, really exciting. So I don't know, Jake, if you want to elaborate a little bit on the economics of it and maybe some other alpha on how we think this could be the leading APR on blue chip assets. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's I love just jumping right in with just pure alpha.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, I don't know.
Just right out of the gate, just
You're just backing into the corner, right? Shining the big spotlight on you.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, AJ and I had a little talk before this. We're like, how much alpha do you want to drop today? Because there's
All of it.
tons.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, you guys have all been super patient, and we appreciate that. We've been working, diligently in the background. But again, like AJ mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts, and this is, potentially the first functional DEX that's using the native token as the reward token. And like, just to put that in perspective, like imagine going to pancake swap, and instead of getting cake, which everyone has opinions on, you just got BNB, right? Or like ETH on sushi, right? Like that's kind of what we're talking about.
For sure.
Yeah, so like honestly, we've been trying to keep our mouths closed for a while now, because like I said, there's just a lot of moving parts, and we didn't want to step on our own toes or put our foot in our mouth, and before we had all the the T's crossed and the I's dotted. But yeah, things are looking really good, man. We've come up with really good projections on the tokenomics and being able to use the L1X token, working hand in hand with the foundation, which is really cool. I know we see a lot of faces from both the EMP and DEXify in here, so just to kind of lean back on some of that stuff, like just being able to work this closely with the foundation here, amazing team, amazing set of guys and gals, is just such a huge advantage for us, from not only a individual project's perspective, but also just in terms of building a DEX. Like pancake swap doesn't necessarily work hand in hand with BNB found, the BNB with Binance chain specifically.
Wait, you mean CZ's not punching the clock yet, Pancake?
Yeah, well, I kind of hesitated a little bit because they're talking, but having the ability to start from square one, and really build a product that is functional and operates without inflation is just like it's a dream come true, from a project owner's perspective,
Absolutely. Yeah, and with this model, and again, I think we had a mic drop moment at the very beginning. We came out of the gate swing and dropped all the alpha right in the beginning. But we could even see a scenario because of this real yield model. The more volume that we're able to do on the DEX, that is more buy pressure on L1X itself because of the fees. And so we could actually have a scenario where LP providers, their APR goes up over time, which again is unheard of in the LP providing space, because the more volume we're able to do on the DEX, the more rewards we're able to distribute. And at the end of the day, and this is the reason that we were lobbying so hard on having L1X be the DEX token, is that benefits all of us. I mean, again, the more utility, the more buy pressure. Theoretically, again, we're not here to give financial advice, but that could absolutely allow the L1X token to appreciate over time as well. So, yeah.
Hey, and what is that thing that you always say? What's the best advertising in crypto?
Yeah, absolutely be great. So the best advertising in crypto is a giant green candle, which we've been seeing a lot of lately. So the market's looking good, and I think we're primed for an amazing launch with L1X and L1DEX.
I'll jump in here, guys, because
Please, absolutely, Spark. Yep.
Yeah, and just back at you guys. Like working with AJ and the team and Jake and the team, it's just it's been a real pleasure. These guys have really grasped the opportunity of what the features of L1X provide, and look, from our discussions with what they're building, I think it's really exciting, and it's almost been hasn't it been a learning curve to kind of go through? Okay, we've got a DEX, we've got the L1X features. Let's kind of learn how those two things can really kind of work together, and I suppose there's been learnings on both sides really with the new tech of how to get the most out of it and what it can do, right?
Absolutely, Spark. Yeah, and that was a lot of it. I mean, again, the interoperability that L1X is providing, that is a major selling point. But we also have to make sure that the native assets on every chain that is provided is able to be used in the LP in the most efficient way possible. So again, we're not quite ready to say how we crack the code, but we've come up with a model that, again, we think Kevin and the DEX finance guys will be able to pull off. And it could end up being the highest APR on blue chip assets that we've ever seen, in the current market. So yeah, absolutely, brother. We're excited.
I think a lot of people have probably heard me say this term, but I think a lot of people in crypto are financial engineers, where I see that Grover had just play something about ChatGPT, and we've heard about prompt engineers and that being a career path for people. And you were talking about, Spark mentioned about trying to figure out how all these things work and fit together. I come from a family of engineers. My wife comes from a family of engineers. There's engineers all over the place here, but one thing that is absolutely certain, like when we talk about like our early childhoods, and L1X is in its early infancy right now, and so this is actually pretty relevant, is that all the kids in my family, all the kids in her family for the most part, used to destroy things, but take things apart and see how they fit together and actually put them back together, and then actually combine things. And I think that's a lot of what the L1X DEX is doing. Like I don't know exactly what you're doing. I can only kind of speculate, but I see a lot of financial engineering and based on what Jake has said in the past, this user experience engineering, and to put those together into this package that hasn't been seen before. It's a unique thing, and I just look at that thing from my childhood of taking things apart and putting them together and then rearranging things and seeing kind of what worked, and where I've talked about DeFi being like financial Legos. I think this is the perfect analogy, for the L1X DEX is it's a financial Lego, and then seeing how all the pieces kind of fit together, you guys rearranging them and, kind of doing the math and seeing, what is this going to add for the user? What is this going to use for, what is this going to add to the blockchain? I think there's going to be some amazing combinations that get put together here, and I'm super excited to see. I'd love to be able to see that first UX that drops, and see how those pieces are being put together, and how people have kind of visualized that, or kind of had that in their brain, and then put that on the screen and see what that looks like, and then talk about the mechanics of how those things work together. But enough of me talking, and so maybe you guys can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah,
I'll
for
pop
sure.
in
Go
for a
ahead,
second.
Jade. Yeah, that's your
On that
department,
note,
brother. Yeah.
it's the reference, the analogy is great. The best part about what we're doing now is it's the engineering is all right now, especially it's all very practical. It's not, we're not like, the goal going in it was not to figure out what kind of crazy tokenomics we can build to keep APR up and somehow supplement things with taxes and stuff like that. Like everyone that knows me, that knows, like, that's the furthest thing on my mind. What's really interesting is being able to take this really amazing L1X tech and apply that to some of the standard DeFi models, and interweave different principles and ways of doing things together. There's a history of DeFi project springs up, you get 50 to 100 clones, forks of those projects, and then they slowly start to fizzle out. Primarily because the first one wasn't really done that well, and there's little chinks in the armor along the way, and they just kind of get obfuscated and just get worse and worse, with some minor improvements here and there. The ability that L1X has provided to us, this core functionality, it can't be stated enough. Like that, that's what's allowing us to do all these centralized type UI stuff in a decentralized manner. But even before we even get to that, like the actual engineering layer itself now, because we're able to interact with different blockchains all in a single transaction, right? We don't have to separate a bridge and a DEX and an AMM. They can all be one thing now, and not only that, it can be shared between every chain and every DEX, right? So we've said in the past that L1X and L1DEX is going to be the thing that unites the chains, unites the DEXs, and that's still like our primary focus. Without giving away too much, our intent right now is to essentially build a single shared liquidity pool that every single chain, every single DEX can share in, with rewards that can be accessed through every chain and every DEX. Just even saying that out loud sounds crazy, right? But we have a way to do this now.
Totally.
Yeah. And it does it. Those.
To,
go ahead, Spark.
No, I don't know if you want to talk about. I don't think this is giving away too much from you guys, but if you talk about what is a headless DEX, is that something you might be able to? Maybe you've kind of explained it then, but
yeah, I mean,
is that yeah?
Yeah, I can graze the surface on that. Essentially, and again, the best thing about DeFi and blockchain open source, right, is people build and you build on top of it, right? There's been other projects out there that have started some of this stuff. Like Conto is a good example of like a kind of a headless DEX, right, where essentially all of the liquidity lives on Conto proper, Conto.io, but you can't actually trade on Conto, right? Basically, all the DEXs on Conto, Slingshot or Velocimeter, all access that, right? But in a lot of ways that's great, but also in a lot of ways it's limited because a particular DEX can't necessarily build on top of those. They can access it, but they can't build on top, right? We're taking some of those principles, basically where there's this central liquidity hub that will live on L1X. But rather than just being kind of quarantined away from everybody, essentially it'll be able to tie in to liquidity pools on AVAX, Polygon, BNB, all of the chains that we're interoperable with.
And yeah, I look at it like as a hub on a bike tire, and the spokes are reaching out to other chains and providing utility to those chains in the overall picture, of the industry. It's to understand like this is such a unique product, and like when you say some of the things like, I think that knee-jerk reaction is to think, oh, is that going to work? And then you you kind of go back and listen to it and you think about it and you're like, oh shit, like, my apologies there. Like, wow, like, something gets born out of like an idea or a thought, and it might have sounded like, well, we've never seen that before in crypto. That's never going to work. But the tech wasn't here to back that up and facilitate that actually working. But if we look back to like just electric bicycles, look at how far those have come, in the last few years, cars and et cetera. And I think we're really kind of on this precipice of some really new, exciting things being built, and things that were maybe kind of vaporware in the past. But I believe in the near future here, we're going to see some stuff that was never capable of being able to be produced.
Well, if you think about it too, like on a just like a practical level, right? Like, there's all these DEXs that pop up, right? And God bless them. Everyone's got a dream and a vision, and sometimes they improve on something else, but typically it's just a fork or something else, right? And the hardest part is getting liquidity, right? So everyone's scrambling after the same piece of cheese, and then individually each of them are less robust and less functional because their liquidity has to be spread out. Basically, what we're aiming to do is concentrate all that liquidity into a single AMM or a couple of AMMs, to where all these DEXs can access it, all the individual liquidity providers can access it, but still provide a way to where a DEX that is accessing it, or their users are accessing it and providing liquidity, they're still getting credit for those users that they're bringing in. So the model then changes from, well, hey, we don't need to have all this liquidity. We can just have a great community, and the liquidity is already there. And then even from there, we can provide SDKs for other products to build on top of, and see what other kind of great stuff they come up with.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%. And again, this is all, new territory. And I think another thing that we wanted to touch on was market share. We've talked a lot about how, the incredible numbers, like PancakeSwap does about 4 million a day. PancakeSwap does $400,000 a day in volume. Uniswap does about $1 million a day in volume. And that sort of volume, if we can even take 10% of that market share, we think we can actually take much more than that, because the product sells itself. I mean, what other option is there right now that has the lowest fees, being able to be interoperable, not have to rely on a bridge that can get hacked? Last year alone, about $1 billion was hacked through bridging, and be able to transact in native assets per chain. I mean, again, everything that we're going to build is a no-brainer in terms of DeFi users wanting to use it. And then on top of that, LP providers, will hopefully have the highest yields on blue chip assets, again, that the market has ever seen. So it's really exciting, and we're working on the white paper now. Again, we were kind of waiting to have a lot of loose ends tied up. But we're finally there, and LA, again, as part of the team as well, she'll be helping me this week, really putting together the first draft of our light paper or white paper, and that will help explain all this a little bit better as well, like what Spark asked about Headless DEX. But Jake explained it perfectly. I mean, the whole idea is that we're able to tap into the liquidity and the communities of all the other DEXs on every chain, and they're incentivized to do so. Again, we're not taking away from them. We're actually giving them more volume through our DEX. So again, really revolutionary stuff coming to life.
Let me just jump in real quick on it, just to follow up on some of that.
Please.
I think your numbers are. I think those numbers are generating fees generated actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, obviously there's a ton more volume, but actually to that point, I mean, first of all, $500,000 in fees means that you guys are getting massive amount of rewards on blue chips. But again, to that point, I think our primary focus in the beginning anyway, and the L1X guys are doing an amazing job at like getting the product into different sectors that maybe are haven't been explored. And honestly, once people start seeing this, how this all works, I'm sure there's going to be a flood of new projects coming on board just to host their own liquidity and come to move to L1X, right? But I think it's important to break it down and focus on the one aspect that L1X absolutely dominates in, and that's this interoperability and the lack of the ability to exchange tokens between native chains without a bridge, right? So again, we talked about some of this in the past, but just the bridging sector, right, is like $3.5 billion. You have like multi-chain that's already halfway in the bag. Even people like Synapse, which we appreciate. We're actually partners with them right now, and we think they have a great product. But I'll tell you right now, we're not getting any revenue from Synapse, right? We have several integrations with them, but there's no incentive for us to go back, right? So if you just even without factoring in all the extra projects and people that will ultimately come to L1X, if you just look at the bridge market and say, okay, $3.5 billion is being traded every year. Like a third of that's being stolen, right? So like that seems like
Terrible.
That seems like an easy sell, right? Then all the people that are using these SDKs from multi-chain and Synapse that are not getting any kickback or anything from that, right? We feel really confident that we can slurp up that market share, relatively quickly.
Yep.
And what that does is from just from a
user perspective.
No, I was saying just for forecasting purposes, right? If you're looking at, what that's going to mean for the end user, right? And again, because we're focusing on the native chains, and that's why AJ keeps referring to kind of returns on blue chips, is because we're going to start with essentially, the top 10 tokens, right? The top, all the L1s, right? Those are the ones everyone wants to have, outside of some, some moonshots, right? But, if you look on any DEX, the best ones, the newest ones, right? You're not getting more than like 5 to 10% on, any like ETH USDC pair, right?
Right.
But because we're focused on this one area and the need for this is so great that all the liquidity that we're going to be pushing for is going to be in these blue chips, and by taking over that market share, it's just compiling the added fees that are coming in, which are going back to liquidity providers, which you don't get anywhere else, right? So like a new DEX that pops up, obviously they're relying on inflationary tokens to keep the yield up, and some even supplement those with real yields, but they're forced to use the fees from like tokens in their ecosystem, whereas we're able to reach just a much broader market.
So this brings up something that has kind of been in the back of my mind a little bit, and the transformative use of like this technology. I think there's a real parallel here to cell phones gaining mass adoption, because I grew up in, I'm 50. I grew up in a time where everybody had a landline, and I'm thinking about how the cell phone like transformed people's lives and their productivity, their ability to, not waste gas driving here and there looking for something where they could just look on their phone or call their wife and see what they needed. Where back in the 70s, the only people that had cell phones were real high net worth individuals, and their ability, they needed that to be able to move, to maximize their time, to move their capital around. And I look at how cell phones have done that on a micro level for everybody in terms of the ability to make them productive, or give them the opportunity to be productive so that they can save time, which effectively saves them or allows them to earn money that they never had the option to move. And that's the level of tech here, and the transformative nature I think that exists is the parallel with the cell phone and the ability for somebody who isn't a multimillionaire to be able to participate in and save time and to move around the entire crypto industry and have exposure to all of these assets through the use of the L1X DEX, the wallet, etc. And I think it's going to transform the market. So,
I agree with you. I try not to
hype.
I try not to compare it to like a cell phone, because not even people are the adoption for crypto isn't even there yet, right? But that's only to our benefit, right? I mean, we're here early, and as people grow, we're going to grow with it, right? But to put this into perspective, I just pulled up my numbers, and I try to be fairly moderate with my guidance internally, but just for giggles here, at 3.5 billion, at 3.5 billion in volume, you're talking about 15 million a month in fees, which could all be going back to liquidity providers,
That's right.
Yeah.
And also to make those like, it'll be the cheapest non-bridge out there, right? Like cheaper, faster, more secure, like the trifecta.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I know. Sorry for the background noise. My daughter, Birdie, like you said, be great. She's excited for the DEX, man. Yeah. So
she's tweeting out, baby.
We've been giving her all the alpha. So, but yeah, and again, just to clarify a few things. Yeah, when I said 400K up to $1 million on Uniswap, I meant fees. So yeah, and to Jake's point, the amount of volume is directly related to the fees that are generated, and that doesn't mean sell pressure on L1X. That actually means the opposite, because again, those fees are either going to be generating L1X directly, or if you're swapping, two tokens other than L1X, then those tokens are used. A portion of those are then used to buy L1X off the market and reward those fees. So again, this is something that is very, very different, and it's a net positive on L1X. Not to mention, a lot of L1X maxis may end up holding the L1X because they think that it'll be worth more in the future than it is now. And again, not to get into too much alpha, but there's a lot of other use cases in the pipeline as well. So yeah, I mean, again, we feel really confident that this is going to be a game changer.
I think I just shout out to Emperor 983s bringing up the point of of the sell pressure on the L1X token.
For sure.
I think the difference you'll find, and this is probably a good example with Pancake Swap Cake token, and with any token that's distributed as a reward, is that the issue that you've got with, say, for example, Cake, there's nothing else you can do with Cake, right? Once it's issued to you. But
you can eat it.
With
you can eat it. Come on now, Spark.
Well,
you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. I was waiting for one of those jokes.
There you go.
I was like,
I have a few more in the holster. So.
You're consistent.
Jokes. I'm pulling them up as we go. So
yeah,
but they had GPT.
Cool. Yeah. Something cool for L1Xs is that what's being emitted there is the L1X token, which is a massive utility token, because you've got so many things you can do with that token. rather than sell it, you could stake it. You would use it as gas fees. Now, when we talk about gas fees, remember, you can use the L1X token as a gas fee on any chain we're connected to. You could lend it, you could borrow it, there's so many different utilities there to then generate it back into the ecosystem. And every time you're transacting, remember how those fees are at the protocol level. So at the protocol level, how those fees are distributed is they're distributed to 50% goes to reward those staking on the full nodes. 25% goes to reward those people that are validating transactions with their smart devices who have the L1X wallet. And then 25% go to the foundation where they're either locked or they're then reinvested back into the ecosystem. So every time, so what the DEX is creating, it's going to suck in a ton of liquidity because it has access to a lot of, and potential partnerships with a lot of other DEXs, suck the liquidity into the L1X protocol, and then all the transactions and that happen within the DEX, obviously generating transactions at the protocol level as well, which then distribute to the stakers, the validators, and also the foundation. So it really is a really bullish thing to have a DEX where the actual token is the native token of the chain, because that token already has massive utility behind it.
I'll follow up a little bit on that too. It's just to make sure we're clear on the differences between Cake and L1X token. When we say we're going to use the L1X token as the reward token, there will be a finite supply that we're using as an initial runway in the beginning, right? As opposed to something like Cake, which just has like an infinite supply, and more can be pumped in the market, right? The goal is not to just continually pump L1X tokens into the marketplace. The goal is to use a runway of L1X tokens within the first year or so to give those initial rewards, right? But then the fees that are coming in will also be constantly buying back more L1X to keep providing those further rewards, right? So immediately off the bat, we're going to be buying, we're buying back, close to as much as we're giving out, right? So it should be a a neutral, a neutral result. And then ultimately in the long run, once those runway tokens expire, then it's just purely buying more and putting more back. And then again, to speak on the use cases, of course, having it as the gas token and things like that is another reason for people to hold it. Being able to stake it in the validators and things like that is another reason to hold it. But also in this infrastructure with this centralized AMMs and centralized liquidity pools, L1X will be needed to be in those pools, so that not only is it being given out as a reward, but it's also being bought up by every liquidity provider that's putting money in. So if you're on AVAX and you want to stake in this blue chip pool, you're going to have to buy some L1X, which is going to further appreciate the price.
Absolutely, great points.
I think they call that bullish AF, right?
Yeah,
That's what the kids call it.
If this AMA doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will, man. Totally. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I feel like we've monopolized the AMA today. I don't know if you guys have other questions for us, or if you had other updates of your own. I just don't want to take over here, but.
Well, also for those, probably worth mentioning, for those of the community members that don't know, you guys also have started with your community channels and everything like that as well, AJ?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's yeah.
Spark. So I know, again, we get the reputation of the AMA train, where we're doing 4 or 5 AMAs a day. LA and I are, again, the tag team partners in that. So LA is already setting up some AMAs. We again are going to work on the white paper this week, and yeah, all of our socials are already live. So we just announced our official branding as the L1DEX. We have a great logo that represents the professionalism of what we want to achieve. We're not named after a food group or a mythical creature. We're going after the traditional finance, professionalism of the DEX. And yeah, it's L1DEX on Telegram, on Discord, and on Twitter. And again, over the next few weeks, we should have not only an MVP to kind of show what the DEX itself will look like. The interoperability, obviously, we have to wait until L1X is live, but we can kind of demonstrate everything else other than that. And again, the ramp up into an actual launch of what we're doing. We're going to be spreading the word far and wide. So, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. We have faith in all you guys and gals. Always the gals are underrepresented, but they're all the ones that are here do a great job. So, if you guys want to,
I'll just reiterate as well. Just that it's been, and I know I said this before, but it's been a real pleasure working with both AJ's team and Jake's team, and just seeing, like, if you could see the quality of not just these guys, but the team members that are part of those teams as well, in terms of what they're putting into this particular DEX and what they're building, and some of the ways they're actually pushing the boundaries on this. It just gives, we're really excited. Every time we talk to these guys, we always come off the call, we're really excited about what they're doing. And as AJ said, to be able to demonstrate that to the L1Xs and the community out there, prior to the some stage in August will be amazing. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this was about 10% of what we have in the works. So I know in the chat everybody says more alpha, but we will be releasing that.
Well, Birdie's mad. She wants more alpha.
I know, man.
Come on now.
She's telling it, Daddy, come on, right? So yeah, go ahead, Jake. Yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say, Machu, I appreciate that and couldn't agree with you more. For anyone out there who, maybe still questioning the tech, I'll tell you what, our CEO, Kevin, L1X's CEO, Kevin, is honestly one of the only guys in my dealings in DeFi and in crypto that's been able to keep up with us and sharing ideas. And he honestly has guaranteed me personally that he's going to give me half of his tokens if there's anything that comes up that he can't do. So we are actively pushing that. We are actively pushing that limit. We're going to try to do everything we can.
Yeah, we got to take him up on that offer, right? No, but yeah, in all honesty, it's been a dream. I mean, we work with a lot of projects, and L1X continues to prove why this is something so special, because not only is it people that have an extensive knowledge of the tech, revolutionary tech. Again, Kevin is a goat in bringing something that has never been done before, but the rest of the team as well, is very well rounded. Again, Be Great, Spark. I mean, a lot of great crypto veterans that I really feel between all of us we'll be able to deliver 100% on everything that we have in store.
Oh, what a sweetheart. But yeah, like I know I'm super excited. I do. I really love all the people here. It's been a really fun adventure and a journey with everybody, and I like to see all of this kind of materialize, because a lot of this has been in the works for quite some time, and to see like it moving along and then getting closer and closer. I think everybody kind of shares that like anticipation, like, okay, let's do this, and just kind of I don't want to say it like anxiety or anxious, but like I'm always like, okay, what's next? What are we gonna do? And that's a great thing about crypto, and the opportunity I think that we all have kind of in front of us. So I do appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah,
sharing your time.
absolutely be great. And again, I mean, it may seem like we're a bit delayed, but I mean, all this has been happening behind the scenes, and I think that a lot of you are going to see this start moving a lot faster, especially in terms of our community growth and the word getting out about the DEX itself. You know, we had a lot of important meetings this week to tie up some of loose ends, and now it's on us to start building everything out and really spreading the word. And all of you, I mean, we love the support from the L1X community directly, and that's another thing. I mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier on the AMA. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see the overlap in communities with L1X and the DEX itself, because usually, you know, again, Pancake Swap's a great example. You know, the support is, you know, not as direct as I feel like we're gonna have. So all that makes a better product in the end. And again, if people are being rewarded in the token that they want to have, I mean, that is so bullish for long-term price. Again, not financial advice. So yeah, again, this economic model is something we worked really hard on. Jake and his team did some, you know, very extensive quants and projections about all of it, and you know, we're super confident. And those numbers were very conservative too. So again, we're not trying to overhype or be moon boys here. We're being very realistic, and those realistic numbers are could be, you know, incredible. Let alone, you know, if we can capture upwards of 50% market share, you know, over the next few years, it could be incredible.
I mean,
Bullish AF.
honestly, I mean, it's the whole thing's exciting, right? But you know, we're still getting some questions about, you know, how's it gonna work for LP providers and stuff like that. Like, I'll be honest, I'm almost more excited just to throw my personal bags in here. That's how this is gonna work. The DEX by Treasury is aping hard. I saw them putting on all my bags. I'm telling you, you know, especially coming from, you know, our vaults platform, you know, we've seen the way that the market moves and the way, you know, the general flow of investing happens. And you guys all know the story, right? Like, something's hot, and you know, you get in and try to race, you know, you race the APR, you know, down the price waterfall.
Yeah.
What this is gonna be is you're gonna have hubs to access on every chain, potentially every DEX. Anyone, you got any friends that have a DEX, have them reach out to us. We'll get them set up.
For sure.
Essentially, you'll be able to access this liquidity on any chain, any DEX, and you know, with a single click, get into primarily blue chip liquidity, right? Which we know is like non-existent. I mean, you get it, but you get 2% or something like that on some of the higher pairs. It's going to be super easy. It's going to be something that you can just kind of set it and forget it, put your money in, and not have to worry about massive price fluctuations outside of just general crypto volatility. And you'll be able to earn, you know, substantially more than you will near any DEX, which also bodes well for the expansion and collaboration with these DEXs, because, you know, they're going to want to, you know, we don't want to cut them out. We don't necessarily even want them leaving their DEXs. We want to be able to just offer that the same, you know, offer that to their people. And you know what? They might even be able to add to those rewards to further incentivize. Wink, wink.
For sure.
And I think what Jake is talking about there, I think it's a really good example, right? The DEX is a perfect example of L1X's aim to unite the chains, because what the DEX allows, it allows collaboration, and I think it's an amazing example of collaboration between projects to provide something to users that has never been provided before, and allowing that space for projects to get together and really change the game within DeFi. And, you know, Jake's talking about a particular blue chip set. I think, and that's what L1X, the interoperability does. You know, when you look at Ethereum's market share currently, with the interoperability, or the X talk, right? Because it's not just asset transfer, it's logic transfer. It means that any application on any chains we're connected to can have access, bridgeless access, to more users and more liquidity than the Ethereum chain, because Ethereum, Binance, Solana, Phantom. So, you know, the L1DEX is a great example of tapping into all that and uniting projects across multiple chains. I think you guys are a shining example of what's possible.
Yeah, no doubt. I could not agree more, Spark. And I think not only is that, the ethos of everybody here, not only DEX5 at EMP as well as L1X, and now the L1DEX, but that is also extremely beneficial in terms of adoption. I mean, again, if we give DEXs and LP providers a no-brainer alternative where, if anything, they're earning more. In other words, we're not asking them to migrate liquidity. We're not asking them to have, a non-compete or, a dedicated pool just for us. Like all this will be available through an SDK or a standard developer kit, where it's seamless. And so again, I think we tick all the boxes when it comes to affordability, ease of use, safety. Again, that spoke, the wheels of a spoke that B Great mentioned earlier. I mean, we are providing all that through the DEX and the tech that L1X brings.
Yeah, man. Just think about it. It's how Facebook built itself. It's how every social network built it up. And we've said it, 1,000 times over at EMP that, crypto is a social financial like experiment, and it is about bringing people together and being able to have access to the tech that brings these people together. Just think of, what that's going to do for the space and how it has been lacking, how it's been so siloed and tribalized. And look at the fact that the fees will be low and the liquidity will be able to flow from the least efficient to the most efficient and effective. And that green candle, right? Nothing is a better advertiser than that. And to see that and to have that word of mouth, people talking about like, shit, like I moved from this project to project for less than a penny. And back in the day, that's how you used to be able to move in and out of exchanges, and that's how we arbitrage before DEXs. And I just think about that, and I miss those days because that was really fun. Because this is how you met people in crypto, was the chat feature within the actual exchanges. But this is what's present right now here on this platform, this protocol through L1X and L1DEX, the ability to move capital around from project to project, from pool to pool, and have access to these things for less than a penny. Like I was just having to move something off, like I had to bridge something off of Ethereum, and it was like $28. And I'm like, geez, you got to have like $20 million to feel comfortable about, trading on Ethereum. And I think about the way that capital has been kept hostage, and the people that, maybe kind of said it and forgot it over there and have been held hostage. And, to the ability to have that unlock key, if you will, or that cheat code from the video game to be able to, kind of transform like your prospect in crypto. I think that's what's present here right now. And a lot of people, that are here now are really going to be the beneficiaries of that. And hopefully, there's more people that, get latched onto that idea that you have to keep your money in circulation to keep it growing. You can't just set it and forget it and say, oh, that's that. And that's I think what L1X and L1DEX is going to do for the crypto community.
100%.
Well, just to add to that as well, I think if there's any token that you want to hold for a good amount of time, and not financial advice, but it'd be the L1X token, because as you looking at the projections from the DEX, you'll see those numbers increase and increase and increase. And what you'll find is that because the tech is so novel, you'll have projects building at the beginning, but once those projects are built and start in operation, whether they're a DEX, whether they're a game, then other projects will see, wow, actually, these are some of the features that can actually be built on L1X. Then you'll see more projects adopting and more projects adopting, and it's just the growth game from there in terms of taking market share from multiple places and bringing it into L1X, but still benefiting other chains by utilizing what we can offer. I think, the long-term perspective is the one you want to have.
Totally. And I want to bring up one more point, and Jake, you might be able to elaborate a little bit on this as well. But all we talked about today was the main features of the DEX. This blue chip pool that we're going to be launching with all the native assets for every L1. But we haven't even discussed the engineering layer. I mean, we are hoping to have, again, to Spark's point a second ago, we want to have other projects building on top of the DEX as well. And Jake, a great example of that is the vaults that you guys have, other financial instruments that tap into the massive liquidity that we will hopefully be building. Again, you just want to elaborate a little bit on that, Jake, on what we're hoping for? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. In fact, I was just gonna say, the only thing better than maybe holding just L1X proper is holding L1X within a basket of other solid blue chips beneath and having them auto balance and take profit for you along the way.
It's alpha. Is that alpha, Jake? Is that alpha?
Maybe a little. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and we alluded to a little bit earlier, having this kind of central liquidity hub with this engineering layer, kind of connecting all the exchanges. And of course, L1DEX will still have, L1X will have a front-facing exchange, right? And all the features that we're talking about will be included in that. But we don't want to necessarily, take away from future development from other people, from other exchanges or other projects. Like I said, if you got an idea and a dream, you can just come to L1X and start building with like millions of dollars in liquidity and just put your product on top of it, and you're already out the door. So of course we're going to bring the vaults over with the ETFs, and all that will be available right out of the gate. You'll be able to use that for your liquidity, staking and all that, even for the validator nodes and whatnot. So we're definitely encouraging collaboration, and we're gonna actually make it super easy and accessible to use the SDK. It won't have to be you won't have to be branded in L1DEX. Everything can be essentially like a white labeled service where we're just operating, the Ferrari engine under the hood.
Love it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, we'll be available in our own Discord and Telegram. If anybody has any follow-up questions, we're happy to answer. We have a great group of mods, and team members are very present for both DEXify and EMP. And yeah, we really appreciate the opportunity. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure working with all of you, and this is a massive opportunity that we don't take lightly. And again, like I said all along, we want to deliver 100%, not only for our respective communities, but for the L1X community as well. And we think we can. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably with Cryptonaut as well, in regards to the L1X wallet and how it can integrate with, of course, the L1X chain, but also the L1X DEX, and what kind of features or advantages would that have to separate it from other wallets?
Oh man, Red. Point. Yeah, Red. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not say. So I'm gonna default to Cryptonaut or Spark. But that's a whole nother conversation that again could be extremely bullish for the DEX. But yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. So Spark or Cryptonaut, are we allowed to kind of go into that or not yet?
Oh, I think we could be running out of time. We might have to. We might have to save that alpha. I think. What do you reckon, Cryptonaut?
I think that's the answer. No.
That's it.
I think it's fair to say that there will be integrations for sure. We'll save the deep dive for another time maybe.
Yeah, and as the wallet as a whole, Cryptonaut and the team are building something that has never been seen before with a wallet. I don't even know if you can call it a wallet, and we probably won't. But yeah, we may save that excitement for another day. I think we don't want to overexcite people, right? We've given
Yeah,
something pretty
no
special
doubts,
today.
but yeah. And to Jake's point, I agree. I mean, again, knowing what we know, we think that this wallet will be just as revolutionary as everything else that we've talked about and what L1X is bringing to the table. So, and all that leads to, again, more bullish things for our future. So, yeah, I love
Let's turn it on. Let's turn it on right now.
it. Yeah.
I'm always the one that dug through the closets looking for the Christmas presents. So
Yeah, totally.
let's go.
Guys,
Okay,
thank you.
guys.
Massive thank you. Yeah, massive thank you to the DEX guys. It's great having you guys on. Thanks for taking the time. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, and hopefully we can join you again maybe in a couple of weeks when we're ready to release the white paper. We'd love to come back on and address some more alpha
Perfect.
and any other questions that you guys might have for us as we continue to bring this thing to life. So
Yep. Sounds good, AJ and
all right.
Jake
Thanks,
and Ellie.
guys. All right.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
So L1X team, do you guys want to wrap it up here right now? I mean, end on that note. Do you want to? Your call.
I think so. Yeah. I don't want to keep them too long. I think an hour is great. I think the DEX guys have given us a great update, and look, thanks to all the L1Xs that turned up today to attend, and and we'll obviously have the recording for everyone who couldn't make it as well.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, we do appreciate everybody showing up, team members, community members. We're all a team family here, so any feedback that you have on things that we can do better, please place them in the channel. Open a ticket, DM us, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. So I always encourage communication because we always want to be better and serve you better and create better products here. So thanks for everybody. Thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you for the people that are going to listen to the recording. So be safe, have fun, get outside, step away from the computer, enjoy your life a little bit, come back recharged, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye, everybody.